Welcome to Sports for Supper, live from Sammy's Restaurant at 202 U.S. Highway 90 East in Castroville. Sports for Supper, a weekly look at what's happening in area sports. And now, along with Maury Stein, Dwayne Garza, and Jeff Stivers, here's the host of Sports for Supper, Jared Lucky.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sports for Supper at Sammy's. We are in this is our 7th week now, Maury, and we're going to have the tennis team on here. And, we got a couple of the coaches and a couple of the players. We're going to talk to them tonight, and then we'll have football on. I'm assuming Coach Crisp is the coach that's going to be here, and then we'll have some of the players on after that to talk about their game against Alamo Heights and their game last week against Bernie Champion. But we are going to jump right in and start with tennis. And if y'all will introduce yourselves, kind of tell us your names. Y'all are both the coaches here. But tell us your names and a little bit about how you got here to Medina Valley.
Got it. So I'm Coach Webb, and this is my 5th year teaching at Medina Valley and the 1st year coaching tennis at Medina Valley. About 20 years ago or so, I used to be a tennis coach at another high school. And just been out of it for a while and had the opportunity, so I've been very fortunate that this is the season that I get to jump into.
And I'm Coach Campbell, and I have been coaching here with the Medina Valley Panthers with tennis for 4 years now. This is my 4th year. So our current seniors I found whenever they were freshmen. That was my 1st year. The way that I got into coaching here at Medina Valley, I actually played tennis here in the with Medina Valley whenever I was in high school. Graduated back in 2008, and it's always been my goal. I knew from whenever I was in high school that I wanted to coach tennis here at Medina Valley, so that's always been my goal, and I was able to achieve that, so that was pretty exciting stuff.
Awesome. And so did y'all are in your fall season, because tennis has 2. You have a fall season and a spring season?
That's right, yes.
And so tell us a little bit about how the fall season has gone.
So the fall season, we have our players, we compete as a team, so each match is worth 1 point, and there's 19 matches that play, and essentially it's first team to get 10 matches won is victorious. Our fall season just went incredible. Early on, we play our second week of district. We played last year's district champions, Floresville, and so we knew early on whenever we had won that one that this was going to be a real exciting year for us and a chance for us to finally reach the district champions title, which we ended up getting with our 6-0 record, which was very exciting stuff. And here we are now, still in fall season in the playoffs. First round we went up against Edison Bears and came away 10-0. That was last night or yesterday, and that was over at McFarland. And now we're looking forward to on Friday playing against Bernie Champion at Ann Marie Tennis Center at 10 o'clock.
And So I didn't realize that you actually played another team as a playoff thing. You know, I know some sports will be like, well, here's district, here's regional, here's state. How many rounds are there to kind of get to a state tournament, and how does that kind of work? What's the format there?
So after area comes a regional, and then there's a sectional after that, and then I think you're at the state level. So we're in the second round of potentially 5.
And so I know you said 10 points get you a victory. How many of those matches are there kind of potentially to get points out of?
So we start off, the format is to play 7 doubles matches.
Okay.
We have 3 girls doubles teams, 3 boys doubles teams, and a mixed doubles, which has a young lady and a young gentleman on the team. And we typically look at how we've done after that. Yesterday was great. We were 7-0. And then you come on and you bring on your singles players. So you have 6 singles matches for girls, 6 singles matches for boys. And as far as how those matches play out, your top-ranked team plays the top-ranked team on the opposition.
Okay.
So, for example, in a little bit, you'll hear from two of our top players. They're both in our number one doubles teams, and they both carry the number one in position in singles, which means they're always up against the toughest competition.
Okay.
And how do you get to choose after the doubles matches? Do you get to choose which players play against players on the other team, or is that how you are you seated going into that according to the number one player or number two player, or can you, if for some reason you're behind after the doubles matches, can you pair up different players, or is it done set before the match is even started?
Yeah, that's right. Everything's pretty much set in stone before you arrive to your match. You can have alternates in case there's an injury, but for the most part, you already know who's going to play exactly in what position they're going to play in. So everything's predetermined. Both the coaches hand each other the scorecards, and we fill them out. So we already know, my number one player's name versus their number two player's name, and that's not going to change for pretty much most of the time. Yesterday it changed against Edison because one of his girls became injured, but that's incredibly rare. That's like the first time that's ever happened that I've seen.
And so tell us a little bit about you're playing Bernie Champion on Friday. How do you scout for something like that? Do you go watch their previous match? Do you how do you prepare the athletes for like the next match? Do you know who they're playing beforehand, kind of?
Yeah, we know who they're playing beforehand. So to prepare, no, we don't get that opportunity to go out and scout because most of those matches are happening at the same time our matches are happening. We don't get video from them. We do know with Bernie Champion that their technical skill level for tennis is going to be top notch. I mean, just the history of a very strong program. They also have middle school feeders that feed into it, which is a little different than here right now. We just start at the high school level. So our players are doing fantastic. We focus for preparation on playing smart and playing with good strategy. We are not going to out technically play another team. Our best hope in a match is to just play smart. And play smart means put the ball where they're not. Be consistent when you're serving. High percentage shots and smart positioning on the court.
Okay.
Is it the same as the tennis on TV where the girls play 2 out of 3, the boys play 3 out of 5?
Mostly. So in our district, we play 2 out of 3 in boys and girls. Our boys don't play 3 out of 5. That'd make us
take forever, right?
Forever, and you'd only be able to play one match.
Okay.
So in our district, we play 2 out of 3. And another big difference is that our third set, if they split sets, like if our number one boy wins the first set and then the other team's number one boy wins the second set, they'll go to a third set, but that's going to be something called a super tiebreaker, where they play a tiebreaker, first one to 10 points, win by 2.
Okay.
If you've ever watched professional tennis, a tiebreaker is whenever the two players get to 6-all in a set, and then they play a tiebreaker after that. So it's like one person serves, and then the other person serves twice, and then they flip back serving twice and twice.
Okay.
So that's how the tiebreaker works. A bit different than the game.
And so you mentioned that y'all start at the high school level. There's no middle school program. So, but are the players and stuff playing before high school? Are they in some kind of club, anything? Do they play before that, or do they start as freshmen? Like, hey, this is the first time I picked up a tennis racket.
I think all of our players start as freshmen in high school. Right now, we hear really great rumors that there's going to be middle school tennis in Medina Valley ISD in the not too far future. And we are running a program. San Antonio Tennis Association came in this summer and provided us a 6-week camp for ages 5 to 18. And we anticipate that again for this summer. We had several players that came into our summer camp. They progressed tremendously, having that extra court time. So we do plan on running that again this summer. Of course, we run a 3-day camp that's a fundraiser for us that gets students in grades 4th through 9th out on the courts. We also still have this relationship with San Antonio Tennis Association where they send a coach out, typically a college student or in that age group player, to help us for a clinic couple times a month. So we're taking advantage of that right now. We do limit that to our high school players only because of court time. We have over 52 players
That
in
was
our
my next
program
question
right
is
now.
How many players do you
Yeah,
have?
so we have our 20 on varsity, and we have over 30 in our JV mix right now. So we're working on, how do you manage that with 5 courts, and how do you run drills with that? And I think we're doing a decent job, and we're making it happen, and we love it, and we're so pleased to see this level of interest. I know I had another student today in my cybersecurity class ask me, hey, can I still play tennis? He's a football player right now. When he's done, can he come out? And the answer to that question is absolutely yes. And particularly on our boys' side, we could use a few more strong athletes to build up the program. Some freshman boys would be ideal.
Okay. And what's the difference between the fall and the spring season?
So in the fall, like you said, you have your team versus their team, and it's basically whichever side has the stronger overall lineup, that's the team that's going to come away victorious with those 10 points. In the spring season, so say our number 1 girl, Amina, you'll hear from her in a little bit here. She already knows she's going to play doubles, right? Okay. So that's all she's going to play. Right now in the fall, she plays a doubles match and a singles match. In the spring, she'll go on to a bracket, and depending on if you win first round or lose first round, you go into either the main draw or the back draw. And that's how the tournaments work. And then you just play through until either you get to the finals or you lose after your first match, and then you get knocked out. So our players can individually win the tournament. Like we can have, so you have your boys doubles, you have your girls doubles, you have your mixed doubles, boys singles, and girls singles. So you can come away with 5, first place medals in the spring season.
Okay.
Whereas in the fall, you have to work your way all the way through, week to week playing district in order to get any sort of first place or recognition for that. But it's more of an individual sport in the spring.
So y'all won the district championship last week, and this, you said there's how many teams go on, and what round are y'all in now?
We are in area. So yesterday, which is round 2 of the playoffs, yesterday we played in round 1, which is by district. But we back up to our district. So our district has 8 schools. One of them does not field a team tennis team. So there's 7 schools in our district. So we play 6, and we were 6-0. We won all of the district matches, which qualified us in the number 1 spot out of our 28 5A. So top 4 teams move on, and then one from our district plays 4 from it was the SAISD district.
Yeah.
So we picked up Edison. And then in the next round, it's whoever in that bracket feeds in. Yes. But all 4 regions across the state are lined up in the bracket, and then each week, it's getting narrower and narrower. So we have a really good match. For areas very, very competitive, and the teams that we pick up in this round on Friday, very, very competitive. I believe last year it was Alamo Heights.
Yes.
This year we get Bernie Champion. We know that Bernie Champion beat Alamo Heights this year in their head-to-head, but Alamo Heights ended up in the number 2 spot. Bernie Champion ended up in the number 3 in their district.
Okay.
Yeah, the number 1.
Three-way tie.
It was a 3-way tie. Their number 1 team was Dripping Springs. So it's
like rock, paper, scissors in that.
Yeah.
Exactly. So very, very competitive play. Very exciting. And it's exciting for the players to play against more experienced and a higher level of play than what they've experienced in our district. Our district was, I don't want to say it, but it's tougher than by district. Our district play is tougher than by district. All 4 teams out of our district have advanced now.
Okay.
Just to give an indication,
Yeah.
right?
Our number 4 in our district beat the number 1 of their district.
Okay.
And everything in between.
It's been a great season.
And there was something I was going to ask, but I don't remember what it is.
Where is the next?
Yeah, that was it.
tournament
where
gonna
is
be?
So our match against Bernie Champion is going to be at Anne Marie Tennis Center. That's over Fortin and Ingram.
Okay.
It's Friday at 10 10 o'clock, and you pretty much at 10 o'clock you get all the players on, start warming up, and you're serving your first serve of the first game at around 10:25 or so.
Okay.
Any nighttime matches?
So nighttime typically happens more in the spring. So like in the spring, since there's that huge bracket, sometimes you have 32 schools at one tournament, all at one site, and they're all just battling out there for all day. And you start sometimes right around 8 o'clock most of the time, sometimes earlier, but sometimes it'll go till after 10 p.m. Right, so you're out there for over 13 hours during the day, and some of the players are playing more than 5 matches, or not more than, some of them are playing 5 matches in a day. So that's real exhausting for them.
Yeah. Well, we're going to move on to the players now. Go ahead. We got one more?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Since you played in 2008 to now,
Yes.
how have you seen the program change? How have you seen the facilities improve since when you played in 2008 here at Medina Valley?
So whenever I played in 2008 at Medina Valley, the current middle school was the high school. Actually, 2 years before that, the high school changed to the current high school, right? So the current high school was the middle school at that time, and then my junior year was the first year that it's transitioned over to being the high school. But we had to actually drive over from the current high school to those middle school courts and play on those 4 courts. No windbreakers. The wind's just howling through the courts, and you've still got 40 plus players on the 4 courts, and yeah, it was pretty tough. And there's no shade out there. There's no facilities for restrooms. Lockers were not a thing. It's changed.
It's improved a bunch.
Quite a bit.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Good.
Yeah, so that's great. It's amazing having 9 courts, because whenever we host tournaments, we'll use all of them. So the more courts we can get, the merrier. That's just the name of it. It helps you to host tournaments. Other schools appreciate coming over, knowing that there's 9 courts at our
And when you
facility.
have 52 players, that helps a bunch also.
And there's even a new prospect that we've got to further improve our facilities that we just found out about too.
Yeah, so we just learned yesterday that they're going to put in a covered area over the bleachers. So I'm quite confident that all the parents and everyone who's used to sitting in those ends and baking in the sun is going to appreciate when that gets done. So we're super thankful for everything that's just been done and continues to be done to improve the program.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining us, and good luck on Friday.
Yes, thank you.
And we're going to take a quick break and then play a couple of commercials, and then we'll come back with the players. You're listening to Sports for Supper, and we'll continue here in just a moment.
Sammy's Restaurant and Habeas Alsatian Bakery, 2 legendary landmarks in Castroville. From breakfast to delicious hometown lunch specials and more, Sammy's satisfies your taste buds with the unique flavor of Castroville. And from fresh baked breads to pies and pastries, South Texans have made Habeas Alsatian Bakery a must-to-visit since 1940. Sammy's Restaurant, online at sammysrestaurant.com. Habeas Alsatian Bakery, online at habeasbakery.com. Tandre Gwynn Funeral Home in Castroville, Texas, has been providing funeral services to families in the Medina Valley and surrounding areas for many generations. Tandre Gwynn Funeral Home is proud to support the broadcast by the Medina Valley Broadcast Network for the athletes and students participating in this event. Go Panthers! Tandre Gwynn Funeral Home, Castroville, Texas. You may view obituaries at Tandre, Tondre-Gwynn, Guinn.com, or visit the Facebook page of Tandre Gwynn Funeral Home to view funeral notices.
Are you ready for a vacation? Tanya with Travel by Design can help you with all your vacation destination needs. At no cost to you, she can plan all of the details tailored to your unique wants and needs. So all you have to do is enjoy your vacation. Tanya is a certified expert with Disney, Universal Orlando, and California, Sandals, and all cruise lines. Give Tanya a call at 830-931-4834 or visit her Facebook page, Tanya with Travel by Design, for all the latest specials and must-do vacations.
Peerless Peerless Equipment, your South Texas irrigation experts. Peerless Equipment specializes in sales and service of irrigation equipment to the agricultural and wildlife industries. This includes hose reels, big guns, pivot systems, underground pipelines, turbine well pumps, booster pumps, motors, valves, and an inventory of much more. Stop by one of their locations in Hondo and Pearsall, or give them a call at 210-434-7867. Peerless Equipment, bringing water to you.
I'm saying, is it Nick
Welcome
Chubb?
back here to Sports for Supper, as we just had the tennis coaches on. We had a great interview with them, and now we're going to move on to a couple of the tennis players. And we'll start with the young man who came here this evening. If you'll tell us your name and your year in school.
My name's Colin McCauley, and I'm a senior in high school this year, and I've been playing on the tennis team for all 4 years.
All 4 years. And was that the first time you'd ever played tennis, was your freshman year, or had you ever dabbled in it before?
I had gone to a couple of tennis camps before, but I had never actually played on a team. And we don't really have that in Castroville.
And so tell us a little bit about your progression from your freshman year until now, like the improvement that you've had and kind of where you started as to where you are today.
Well, there's been a lot of progression. Tennis has a lot to do with skill and not as much athleticism, although, of course, you have to be athletic. But I would say the first 2 years of tennis, I focused more on basketball and just kind of messed around with tennis. But just recently I dropped basketball and really started to focus on it, and I've gotten a lot better.
And do you play singles, doubles? What is it that you kind of do, or what you enjoy doing more?
That's a tough question because Coach wants me to play doubles in the fall or in the spring, but I kind of want to play singles at the moment, so we'll see. Usually I'm a doubles player though.
Okay. And so tell us a little bit about the Bernie Champion match coming up. How do you prepare for a match like that? You know, what goes through your head, and kind of how do you mentally prepare for it?
There's a lot of mental preparation that goes into it, just practicing the things that you know you're struggling on and making sure that you're good with your teammates and with your doubles partner, and just working on a lot of strategy before the game. We can't really scout our opponent like football or basketball can. We can't look at film and stuff like that, so we kind of just have to work on ourselves and hope that that's the best.
During your off season, during the summer months, can y'all play in tournaments individually? What do y'all usually do during the off season?
During the off season, we don't have school practice, although we do have open court. A lot of us like to do USTA tournaments, which is it's like a organization run through San Antonio. I forgot what it stands for, but basically we can play in tournaments individually or with doubles partners, or we can put together small teams as well.
Okay.
What was the one you said you had played basketball before you got really set into tennis? Was there one moment you can think of that you just said, you know what, I'm going to dedicate most of my time to tennis? Was there a match you saw on TV or something that inspired you to take tennis more seriously?
Not a match. I broke my leg playing basketball, and I decided that I was done with that. So that's the reason why I switched.
When was that? Was it freshman, sophomore year?
It was sophomore and junior year. I broke it twice.
Oh, wow. And how hard is that to come back to play tennis? Because you got to be pretty mobile to play tennis. So how difficult was that to come back from?
It was pretty difficult. I spent a lot of time in physical therapy, and I was in an immobilizer at first, so I couldn't even bend my leg. So there was a lot of training to come back from that.
And you're a senior, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any plans after high school? Do you want to keep playing tennis or anything like that?
I don't think that I'm going to play tennis in college unless I really work this summer, because it takes a lot to play college tennis.
Okay.
But I do plan to play at whatever rec league is at the college I'm going to, which is most likely A&M, maybe UTSA.
Okay. And, good luck on Friday, and hopefully y'all move on, and good luck in the spring also. And thanks for joining us, and we'll move on to the young lady that came here this evening. And if you'll tell us your name and year in school also.
My name's Amina Wilson. I'm currently a senior in high school.
And have you been playing since you were a freshman, or before
Yes.
that? When did you start?
I started a week into freshman year. I had never played before that, so that was my first time.
What made you want to pick up tennis?
Honestly, that time comes around at the end of the year, and you start picking your schedules, and that time came around in 8th grade, and all my friends had decided they wanted to play tennis, and I was like, okay, I'll just do it with you guys. So
And you found out you enjoyed it and
Yeah.
stuck with it.
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your progression from freshman year to now.
I'd say that I started off like any other player, but I fell in love with tennis really fast. And around the end of freshman year and sophomore year, I worked really, really hard so that I could progress faster than I would have had I not. And I think that somewhere in sophomore and junior year, I saw a big improvement, and I am where I am now.
And are you more of a singles player, doubles player? What is your kind of role on the team right now?
I'm definitely a doubles player.
Okay. And you'll do that in the spring also?
Yes.
And do you play mixed doubles or no?
I play girls doubles.
Girls doubles? And so tell us a little bit about the match you have coming up on Friday. What if, obviously you can't scout them, but how do you prepare for that?
So we all know that Bernie's a good school. It usually is a good school that we meet in area, but usually my partner and I, we look at it with excitement, kind of a chance to learn because, like my coaches said and like Colin said, we know they're good. We just go into it with, I know how I can play, and we just do our best.
Take us through a day of practice, a week of practice. What y'all start practice in the morning, you practice in the afternoon. Take us through a day of practice for tennis.
So we do morning practices. We get there around 6:30 to 6:45, and we start our stretches together, and our coaches usually have drills set up for us. So every day we're doing drills. We do conditioning, and if we're not doing conditioning, we go and visit the weight room for half the practice. And we make sure to stay in shape a lot and work on whatever we saw in our previous match that we kind of weren't doing too well on.
So is that something that y'all do a lot, is watch film of your own matches, or can you do that? Can you watch film of your own matches?
We can. There's been times where we've recorded ourselves serving or playing points out to see like our footwork or our stances and such, but it's not something we do that often. We don't really often watch film like other sports do.
What would you consider your strong point? Serving, the net, volley? Or all three?
I don't know.
You're pretty
Maybe-
solid. They're all around.
I don't think there's something that sticks out. I just make sure that like my coaches said, I hit it where my opponent isn't.
Strategy is your strong point.
Match point, where would you be, serving, or would you rather be up at the net?
I would rather be up at the net and cut the point
I don't know
short.
how that works with doubles. So do you play like I'm in the front and they're in the back, or do you switch? How does that work?
Yes. So usually someone is serving or receiving in the back at the baseline, and the other opponent's up at the net at the top of the court covering that area.
But do you all ever switch?
Yes.
You do
So
switch.
we alternate who serves,
Okay.
and whenever you're receiving, you alternate who's receiving and who's up at the net.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that worked. I've watched a lot of singles tennis. I haven't watched a lot of doubles.
Yeah, that's usually-
matches in my
So
life.
it's not half and half left and right, it's half and half front and back.
In a sense, it's kind of cut like when you cut your sandwiches like a triangle, you get that.
You get kind of like a diagonal section
Yes,
of the
it's
court.
basically that's what that is. It's kind of how it works.
Makes sense.
Yep.
And do you have any plans after high school?
I'm probably just going to join, like Colin said, like a recreational club.
Because I mean, it's when you play something like that, there's always going to be. It's like golf. You can play it for the rest of your life. It's not like football where you don't have sports. You know, you can play after high school if you're not playing college. So
Yeah.
it's always something you can do, and no one can ever take that away from you.
Yeah,
that's,
definitely.
That's cool about sports like that. That's why.
Have you ever broken one of your nails playing tennis?
You know, I definitely have.
Because you got to see this young lady, because she's got beautiful fingernails. I was wondering, does that get in the way when you toss the ball up and serve? Or
It usually doesn't get in the way. I was worried that it would, It deterred me from getting those for a long time. Just recently I was at practice and I threw the ball up, and instead of serving it, I was going to catch it because I didn't want to hit the ball, and it landed right on my nail, and that popped it off. It was really gross, but that's the only time. It doesn't really happen. I have to be a little bit extra safe though.
Well, good luck on Friday. Thank you all
you.
for joining us, and good luck to y'all down the road and in the springtime.
Absolutely.
And we're going to go ahead and take a break, and then we'll come back with Coach Crisp. You're listening to Sports for Supper, and we'll continue here in just a moment.
Good team.
Yeah.
Headed out to the game? Then make a stop at your local Valley Mart convenience store. With 12 area locations, Valley Mart is always right around the corner. Fuel yourself and your vehicle with quality branded gas and diesel, snacks, and fountain drinks. Always convenient, well lit with clean restrooms. Valley Mart, family owned and operated since 1984, and a proud supporter of Medina Valley athletics and area youth sports for over 30 years.
Double T Outfitters offers deer, dove, turkey, quail, and exotic hunts in Southwest Texas on over 20,000 low-fenced acres. They facilitate professional guide services, lodging, and fantastic meals while providing the best in Southwest hunting. Contact Double T Outfitters to find out details about their current package hunts. Contact owner Brett Ferguson at 210-413-1597 or online at doubleThunting.com. Sammy's Restaurant and Habeas Alsatian Bakery, two legendary landmarks in Castroville. From breakfast to delicious hometown lunch specials and more, Sammy's satisfies your taste buds with the unique flavor of Castroville. And from fresh baked breads to pies and pastries, South Texans have made Habeas Alsatian Bakery a must-to-visit since 1940. Sammy's Restaurant, online at sammysrestaurant.com. Habeas Alsatian Bakery, online at habeasbakery.com. Tondre Gwynn Funeral Home in Castroville, Texas, has been providing funeral services to families in the Medina Valley and surrounding areas for many generations. Tondre Gwynn Funeral Home is proud to support the broadcast by the Medina Valley Broadcast Network for the athletes and students participating in this event. Go Panthers! Tondre Gwynn Funeral Home, Castroville, Texas. You may view obituaries at Tondre, Tondre-Gwynn, Guinn.com, or visit the Facebook page of Tondre Gwynn Funeral Home to view funeral notices.
Are you ready for a vacation? Tanya with Travel by Design can help you with all your vacation destination needs. At no cost to you, she can plan all of the details tailored to your unique wants and needs. So all you have to do is enjoy your vacation. Tanya is a certified expert with Disney, Universal Orlando, and California, Sandals, and all cruise lines. Give Tanya a call at 830-931-4834 or visit her Facebook page, Tanya with Travel by Design, for all the latest specials and must-do vacations.
Welcome back to Sports for Supper here. As we just had the tennis program on here, a couple of coaches and a couple of players, had great interviews with them. And we are going to move on to football. And Coach Crisp is here. Coach, thanks for joining us again as always.
Oh, yeah, glad to be here.
And Coach, you had a tough game against Bernie Champion. I mean, 0-0 game going in at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough loss.
Yeah.
Because you were right there in the ball game. Tell us a little bit about that game, and then tell us a little bit about Alamo Heights coming up this week.
Well, I think the game plan that we went into the game with was the right one. That we had a couple of decent drives in that game, and we did what we wanted to do in terms of controlling the clock and kind of making them feel under pressure. And the defense came out and didn't have to get a whole lot of snaps, which has been nice because I think the previous games, the 5 games before that, they were having to do a whole lot of work. But we failed to finish, and still kind of riddled with some mental errors. And we went back and watched film, and it's like it was one guy here, one guy here, one guy there. I'm talking offensively, and even defensively, it's when all 11 aren't playing on the same page, it's going to cost you, especially against a good team. And so
we talked about it in the post game, what the Panthers need to do to move forward, and you said the exact same thing. We said finish.
Yeah,
just got to finish. I mean, the opportunities were there. Right before half,
Mm-hmm.
You know, you put a score on the board and you
That's a
get
different
ahead
game.
of
Yep.
Bernie Champion. You never know. It's a different ball game.
And
you know, that's just it. You just got to finish. I
Yeah.
mean, the effort is there.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, defensively, the team played really good defensively. I mean, they hit a 53-yard touchdown run was how they got on the board first, and just a couple of home run plays. They didn't methodically drive the ball on you at all during that game.
Right. Yeah. And that was a huge step in the right direction defensively for us. I mean, that's the when you play teams like that, they have that explosive ability to make those big plays. You got to be perfect, and it's tough, especially when, you know, like you said, you're not finishing. You know, the good thing about it is, you know, we were in a game against a good team, and while we're not, you know, all it takes is getting that past that step, and those things become a habit. You know, when you realize, okay, we can do this, and then it's sort of, you can relax a little bit. I felt we were a little calmer, I thought, Friday than we had been previously. You know, of course, things start going wrong, and you kind of, but we were able to bring them back to the center, and we never had that big freak out moment. But you know, penalties didn't help us. You know, missed assignments didn't help us. But you know, it's a learning thing. All of a sudden, if you can ever get it right, then it's easier to get it right the next time, you know. And so we're looking for that moment to get it right and continue to get it. Defensively, I thought they got it right most of the night.
Well, and Coach, offensively, if you look at the yardage was the same on between Bernie's offense and Medina Valley's offense. It just was a matter of finishing from the 20 to the 20. The Panthers were world beaters. I mean, they moved the ball several times. You know, could have scored 3 times easy.
Yeah.
You know, had the opportunities, but you know, the pre-snap penalties.
Oh yeah.
And you know, and just
brutal.
You know, it's just simple things that can be cleaned up.
Yep.
And you know,
some
people
of that,
always want to pit the offense versus the defense, and I know we say, well, the defense played great, but the offense played.
Well, the part of
did
the
their job also.
When your offense is doing well, your defense is typically going to do well. I mean, especially when you're doing what we were trying to do and keep them off the field. You know that. You're playing defense on offense, and by maintaining possession and keeping their guys off the field, and you're limiting the snaps your guys got to play. They're fresh when they go out there, and so, you know, and then their play callers are getting antsy because they're used to scoring 50 points a game or whatever it is, and so, and you know, we're going to have a very similar game plan this week. That's not going to be a secret. You know, we're not putting up 50 every week, and so we're not going to try to get into a foot race, but we do have to, you know, take a deep breath and relax and not have the pre-snap penalties, because we can't. It's hard to start behind the sticks, but I think we see some things that they do defensively. They're good. I mean, they are real good. Good linebackers, just like Bernie Champion had. Defensive line's big and strong. You know, their secondary's good, but every defense gives you something, and so it's us finding ways to take advantage of what they're going to give us and being patient and being smart about what we do. You know, experience plays a big part in a lot of those things that are happening. You know, it's when you know what the situation is and you're used to it, and you just that and we're getting that experience, albeit by learning from mistakes instead of learning from the success. We're looking to that. Let's learn from success and be able to repeat that. And so that's kind of the direction we're trying to get to.
And we've seen over the years, Alamo Heights always has one real explosive player. Do they have that this year, and who is that for them?
They've got a receiver, I believe his number's 3 on their offense. That, I mean, the guy can straight get it and he can catch. They've got a couple guys that are pretty good. I think their tailback's decent. You know, the quarterback can sling it. You know, big old offensive line. The usual thing, you know. It's going to be a little David versus Goliath, but that's not unusual for us. That seems to be what we do every week when we line up versus our district opponents, and that's okay. You know, defensively, they've got a defensive tackle, number 45. He's got a high motor, strong, you know, great hands, nose for the ball. They got an inside linebacker, number 43, same kind of deal. You know, he's just they got one corner that just is physical, is all get out, and so everyone else is very complimentary to those guys. So it'll be a tough road to hoe, but you know, our kids are up to the task, I think, and we're going to give them hell if we can.
So they've responded. I mean, you just respond different after win or loss, but can take something, you can take a moral victory, kind of, which that doesn't account on the scoreboard. But for 40 minutes, I mean, the Panthers were one score away from tying up the ball game and making it really, really interesting. And you never know how the other team's going to react because they'd never been behind before.
Yeah.
And they never had been tied at halftime before.
Yeah.
And you could just see in their crowd that they were a little worried when they went into halftime.
Yeah.
And sure, it would have been nice to put some points on the board before half, but you came out and you still executed in the second half. You had 2 opportunities, just a couple of penalties. One holding penalty cost you a little bit, but
turnovers.
That stuff,
turnovers. We had a couple turnovers, and that's it is those. That's the game of football. And I think we responded better to some of those negative things. The turnovers especially. We didn't have those freak out where everything just fell apart, and that's a step in the right direction. I talked to the kids the other day about it feels like we are fighting an uphill battle. It's felt that way all year, but I talked to them about Joshua when he got ready to take Jericho. It's they had to walk around the city six days, and then you just got to keep walking, keep fighting, because you don't know if today is the 6th day. Maybe tomorrow is the 7th, and the walls go down, and here we go. And so that's kind of the mentality. It's hard as a coach. You feel for these kids. You don't ever want to. We don't ever come in the weekend and say, well, how can we lose this one? We're fighting and trying to find a way to help them be successful, and that's what we'll continue to do. And so, you got to get up in the next morning and find a way to make it work. That's it.
And I noticed also, Coach, that the enthusiasm from the coaches was there also. I mean, the coaches were into it with the players, and it was there.
Yeah.
It was within reach. It just to finish.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
Well, and one of the things to look at, too, is when you look at the scores from around the district, there were no blowouts, per se. Every game was within
7-point
reach.
game.
Yeah. They were all within reach. I mean, I know it ended up 17-0, but Medina Valley was right there in that game. Play here or there, it could have been a different story.
Right.
And so when you look at that, maybe Alamo Heights will, but I don't think there's another team other than them that might run away with the district. So you've always got that chance of, hey, we're still in the playoff hunt.
Yeah. There's been a lot of parity every year that we've been in this district. It always seems like somebody beats somebody that shouldn't beat this person, and then we end up in some crazy 3-way tie at the end, and it comes down to points, which was tough, giving up 17 because that's the max there, and not getting that when we're right there at the end and not being able to get one in. But it is what it is, and we've got 3 teams that after this, Heights is going to be a challenge, and we're going to step up and try to just hit them in the mouth and get one on them. But 3 weeks, the next 3 weeks, we're going to, hey, it's anybody's game.
I never even thought about the points during the game. It never even, and the last 2 years have came.
You just don't think about it.
And the last 2 seasons have came down to who beats who the last day and by how many and by how few, and that didn't even. Wow, that didn't even cross my mind. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I didn't either. Huh. But, no, well, and that's why you're the head coach.
We were trying like mad to try to, and we, maybe we should have kicked a field goal there just to keep it, get the, but we can't go backwards.
No, but that
is what it is.
I mean, we
wanted
the card says when you're that close, you go for it.
You got to get a touchdown.
I don't care what anybody says about that.
I have to give props to that young man that kicked the ball for them. He made that 43-yarder.
Oh,
he could have made that from about 60 yards.
He had a leg on him.
Yeah. And it just seems like them, Kerrville, they always have a kicker like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Kerrville's got that Zirkle or whatever his name was that's at Georgia now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they always have someone like that. But anyway.
Coach,
go ahead.
Right frame of mind, everybody, this week?
I think so. I mean,
good week of practice so far?
It wasn't bad. It could have been better, but I'm always going to think that. I think I'm always looking for perfection, and we're healthy, and I think that's important. And it's just a matter of showing up and being locked in when the time comes. They got to come to our place, and that's always good for us.
Are we going to get a kind of a thing tomorrow night with the freshmen of how the varsity's going to run their offense? Are they going to kind of show something that you can get an idea of
Yeah,
what,
I mean,
you might expect.
Yeah, you'll typically see, a watered down version of whatever the varsity is going to do offensively, defensively. That's where you kind of teach your basics. We do the same thing with ours, and so it's not going to get real exotic. I mean, I don't know, maybe my coach has got something up their sleeve, but we should see something about what we're going to see on Friday, and so at least that held true last week and it has before. So,
well, good luck on Friday night,
yeah.
And we'll see you on next show probably,
Uh-huh.
and hopefully
After a 1-1?
That'd be great.
But no, it should be. Hopefully, it'll be a good game.
It will
and,
be.
I'm sure the kids will be ready to play. They always are.
Yeah. We don't.
Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time. We're going to get a couple of players on here in a minute. We're going to take a break first. You're listening to Sports for Supper, and we'll continue here in just a moment.
Thank you.
Peerless Equipment, your South Texas irrigation experts. Peerless Equipment specializes in sales and service of irrigation equipment to the agricultural and wildlife industries. This includes hose reels, big guns, pivot systems, underground pipelines, turbine well pumps, booster pumps, motors, valves, and an inventory of much more. Stop by one of their locations in Hondo and Pearsall, or give them a call at 210-434-7867. Peerless Equipment, bringing water to you. Peerless Equipment, your South Texas irrigation experts. Peerless Equipment specializes in sales and service of irrigation equipment to the agricultural and wildlife industries. This includes hose reels, big guns, pivot systems, underground pipelines, turbine well pumps, booster pumps, motors, valves, and an inventory of much more. Stop by one of their locations in Hondo and Pearsall, or give them a call at 210-434-7867. Peerless Equipment, bringing water to you. Double T Outfitters offers deer, dove, turkey, quail, and exotic hunts in Southwest Texas on over 20,000 low-fenced acres. They facilitate professional guide services, lodging, and fantastic meals while providing the best in Southwest hunting. Contact Double T Outfitters to find out details about their current package hunts. Contact owner Brett Ferguson at 210-413-1597 or online at doubleThunting.com.
Headed out to the game? Then make a stop at your local Valley Mart convenience store. With 12 area locations, Valley Mart is always right around the corner. Fuel yourself and your vehicle with quality branded gas and diesel, snacks, and fountain drinks. Always convenient, well lit with clean restrooms. Valley Mart, family owned and operated since 1984, and a proud supporter of Medina Valley athletics and area youth sports for over 30 years.
Sammy's Restaurant and Habeas Alsatian Bakery, two legendary landmarks in Castroville. From breakfast to delicious hometown lunch specials and more, Sammy's satisfies your taste buds with the unique flavor of Castroville. And from fresh baked breads to pies and pastries, South Texans have made Habeas Alsatian Bakery a must-to-visit since 1940. Sammy's Restaurant, online at sammysrestaurant.com. Habeas Alsatian Bakery, online at habeasbakery.com. Tondre Gwynn Funeral Home in Castroville, Texas, has been providing funeral services to families in the Medina Valley and surrounding areas for many generations. Tondre Gwynn Funeral Home is proud to support the broadcast by the Medina Valley Broadcast Network for the athletes and students participating in this event. Go Panthers! Tondre Gwynn Funeral Home, Castroville, Texas. You may view obituaries at Tondre, Tondre-Gwynn, Guinn.com, or visit the Facebook page of Tondre Gwynn Funeral Home to view funeral notices.
Welcome back to Sports for Supper, as we just had Coach Crisp on, and now we're going to be joined by three of the football players, and we'll start with one of them. If you'll tell us your name, position, year in school, number, that kind of thing.
I'm Aidan Cantu. I'm a senior at Medina Valley. My number is 42, and I play defensive end.
Defensive end, and so tell us a little bit about what you're looking for when you line up. You know, are you looking at their tackle, their tight end? Who's usually over you?
Usually I'm on the outside shoulder of the tackle, or when we have a tight end, I'm head up on him. So, when there's no tight end, I'm looking at the tackle or down the line to see when the ball gets snapped. But when there's a tight end, I know I'm going to move off of it whenever he moves. So I just look at, stare at him.
And so tell me a little bit about, would you rather be running at the quarterback, pass rushing, or would you rather be defending the run? What would you rather do?
Oh, I'd say pass rush for sure. Pass rush is always fun. Get to use your hands and spin moves and stuff like that.
How big is the tight end that you're going to be up against for Alamo Heights?
He's a little bit bigger than me. I'm 170 pounds. I think he's right around maybe 190, 200 pounds, maybe a couple inches taller than me. But, I don't really think it's a matter of size. I think it's just a matter of who can get off the ball faster. Lower man wins, move your hands around and stuff like that.
Are you looking to chip the tight end every time just on purpose? You don't know if he's going to be running a route or blocking you from the start, but is your job to chip him always at the line, or do you just kind of let him go if he's going to go by you?
Well, if he's going to go by me, then 10 to 1 he's either going to run a route or block somebody at the upper level, the secondary. So, the best thing to do would just be chip him so that, he doesn't, get one of our guys or he's not open. It'll, knock him off his path,
Do you ever you probably don't from what we've seen. Do you ever drop back into pass coverage ever, or are you always trying to get to the quarterback in a pass play?
Now, usually we only, try and go towards the quarterback.
Yeah.
Asking him something. But as far as defense, offense, are you strictly defense? What would you rather play more, offense or defense? Or have you been on the other side of the ball?
Oh, I haven't been on the other side of the ball since middle school. Once I used to play left guard in middle school, and then everybody started going their own, weight classes and stuff like that, and I kind of stayed, relative to defensive end. So they kind of said you can pick one. You want to stay on the O line or D line. I had a lot of fun on the D line my 8th grade year, so I just stuck with that, and it's been like that ever since.
Well, you get to hit people more on defense.
Oh, for sure.
It's more free game.
Do we have a pick six in store this week?
Or fumble recovery.
Or fumble recovery?
Oh, fumble recovery. If they fumble it, I'm diving for it for sure. But, if they run a screen pass or a bubble and, I can jump up there and get it, then hopefully I can get a pick.
What, do you play any special teams? You on any?
I'm on kickoff.
Kickoff?
And do you play any other sports other than football?
I play golf with my dad, but not for the school.
Not for the school. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so are you a senior, junior? What did you say?
Yes, we're a senior.
You're a senior. Any plans after high school?
I plan on attending Tarleton State.
Okay. Cool.
Can you beat Uncle Dwight?
Oh, man. I could beat him in football.
How about golf, though?
Oh, golf? Nah, he's got me.
He's got you?
He's got me there.
That's my brother's neighbor.
Well, thanks for joining us,
Yes,
and
sir.
good luck on Friday night.
Thanks,
and
sir.
we will move on to the next player, whichever one of you guys wants to go next. They just stare at each other and point.
There, it'll slide down.
And if you'll tell us your name, number, position, year in school.
Yes, sir. I'm Aidan Cantu. I'm a senior. I go to MV, and I'm a safety. Number 23.
And so tell us a little bit about what you see from Alamo Heights that you've got to defend against this week.
Honestly, it's a lot of long passes, a lot of very deep routes, barely any running. And if there is any running, I believe in our linebackers and line to get there first. But mainly just the long routes.
So they throw a lot of deep passes. They
Yes,
stretch
sir.
the field out on you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And that's totally different than what Bernie Champion tried to do, because it seems like they were more of a dink and dunk pass and didn't try to stretch the field too many times. What are you keying on when you look across to the offensive side of the ball? Do you have the weak side of the formation, the strong side of the formation?
I'm pretty sure I have the weak side. I'm mainly looking at the QB just to watch him and watch the ball. And any time that he breaks on it or gets his hand off the ball, I got to look for the route that he's going to and break on that and then get there first.
So what keys are you looking at as far as the running backs coming out of the backfield?
A lot of motions and a lot of screen reads. And, yeah, that's basically it.
Have you all seen, Coach Chris was talking about they have a number 3 that's pretty speedy. Is that your responsibility when you're in there, or do you hope you have help over the top from Mike?
Yeah, I'll have help from Mike.
Who calls the defensive secondary play? Is it Seth or is it Mike or who
It's
makes
the
the
safety.
defensive?
It's Michael.
The safety.
Yes, sir.
Does anybody else call the defensive line or the linebackers, or is it?
Yes, that's the linebackers that
I
call
think
it out.
Bullard does it, doesn't he?
Yes, sir.
That calls the play for the defense, and the secondary's kind of on their own.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You play other sports other than football?
Yes, sir. I run track.
You run track? What do you do in track?
I do the 100 and triple jump.
Awesome. And you got plans after high school?
I plan on going to West Texas A&M.
Cool. All right. And so difference between Bernie Champion and Alamo Heights, what's the biggest thing you see from a defensive point of view?
More passing.
More passing, just
way
the
more
deep
passing.
routes.
Yes, sir.
Because they threw, especially in the second half, all they did was throw that little quick slant over the
Yeah,
middle.
they were
did
just
that the whole
trying to
game.
gain tiny yards.
Yeah, and so they chunk it out. That's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone in the district or that we played really does that. You know, they're the only
Yeah.
team that's going to do that.
Do they center the ball as quick as Bernie Champion, or do they take, because Champion was snapping the ball with 17, 18 seconds still left on the play clock?
I think they take their time with their snaps.
A little more deliberate.
Yes, sir.
Do y'all take any games away from? You saw a team kind of like this in Pioneer, the playoff team from last year that we played down there. They had a quarterback who would air it out, and he wasn't afraid to. Have y'all kind of went back to that and said, look, they tried to do this. Here's how we defended it. Here's what we can take to this game?
Yeah, I think so. We've really adjusted our coverage for that, specifically for the long routes. And I think we'll be able to lock them down.
Because I think that's the only team other than Heights
that runs that.
Yeah,
Yep.
something like that. Well, good luck on Friday night, and good luck in the rest of the season. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yes, sir.
And we'll move to the last young man that came tonight. If you'll do the same thing, name, number, position, all that good stuff.
My name's Caden Monday, number 2, class of 22, and I play corner.
And am I thinking crazy? Did you get an interception last week? Yeah,
Yes, sir.
you did, right?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm not crazy there. I
Nope.
remember. So you're at corner. Tell us a little bit about, playing cornerback and, having to match up against some of their, most quickest guys on the team.
Yeah, they got a lot of speedy guys, and I just look forward to staying on top and knocking them down. And I don't see them getting past me at all, and just plan on getting them.
So I've watched you guys kind of over the course of the year. You start up on the ball, and sometimes you'll back off before the snap.
Yes, sir.
What are you reading on them? Because he's trying to go past you, or he's going to break his route off. Or are you looking at him? Are you looking at the quarterback's eyes? What do you look at there?
Well, before the ball snap, we look at the quarterback, and once he looks straight to the center, we start our skate, and then right after that, we get our eyes on number 2, and if number 2 is vertical, we start mid-pointing. But if number 2 disappears, we lock on to number 1 and stay with them.
And so they've got this number 3 they have that's pretty quick. Is he going to be kind of your responsibility out on the corner?
Yes, sir.
He is.
As long as I'm in man, mainly my responsibility.
And what's this? Is there a size advantage there or anything like that? Is he 6'3"? I don't know.
I think he's 6'3", but I don't see a big issue about it.
I'm just asking, would they maybe throw it up to him and have you're going to have a jump ball for it at some point
most likely.
Talk a little bit about deep routes down the field. Are you trying to turn around and see the ball? You got that pass interference kind of thing. If I've run into him, what are you doing? Are you looking for the ball? Are you trying to just keep him from catching it? What's kind of your strategy there?
Well, kind of doing both. I'm trying to make sure that he doesn't catch the ball, but also looking for it at the same time. Because they run a lot of post and verts, so just get there, break up the pass, maybe intercept it again.
Do you ever get a chance to come on a corner blitz and rush the passer much?
We do have a corner blitz, but we haven't called it at all this year, and I've been begging the coaches to.
It'd be a good time to start, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's seen it yet.
And for running plays, kind of, you got a guy out there blocking you, or some of those quick little wide receiver screens that they run out there. Tell us a little bit about trying to get off blocks and things like that out there.
Well, we're mainly third or fourth tackle support, but getting off the block is pull, push, shove them out the way, get there, wrap up, tackle. It's kind of easy because a lot of these receivers that we're going against are soft. They're not blocking receivers, more receiving receivers.
I know what we've noticed as the year has progressed, the secondary, you guys have figured out how to close quicker with your footwork and stuff. What do y'all work on, and how do you work on that in practice?
Well, every day when we go with the corners, we do our EDDs with our everyday drills, and it's mainly just getting in and out of our breaks, breaking on the ball and just opening up to the ball and getting our footwork where it needs to be.
And Coach Shearhart is basically also secondary coach?
For corners, yes.
Or the corners. Can we get a prediction of a pick six? Take it to the house after the interception this week?
Can't promise anything, but I'll try my best.
There you go. Because what you don't realize, most of the predictions that have been made
on this show, they
usually
seem to come true.
Usually happens.
Yeah.
So,
I know Mikey, Seth, they've all had something like that where they said we're going to do this, and it just happens to happen. So,
it's just magic.
Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for joining us. We appreciate y'all being here. Good luck on Friday night and the rest of the season, and we look forward to calling y'all's games. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back to wrap things up. You're listening to Sports for Supper, and we'll continue here in a moment. Thanks, guys.
Are you ready for a vacation? Tanya with Travel by Design can help you with all your vacation destination needs. At no cost to you, she can plan all of the details tailored to your unique wants and needs. So all you have to do is enjoy your vacation. Tanya is a certified expert with Disney, Universal Orlando, and California, Sandals, and all cruise lines. Give Tanya a call at 830-931-4834 or visit her Facebook page, Tanya with Travel by Design, for all the latest specials and must-do vacations.
Peerless Equipment, your South Texas irrigation experts. Peerless Equipment specializes in sales and service of irrigation equipment to the agricultural and wildlife industries. This includes hose reels, big guns, pivot systems, underground pipelines, turbine well pumps, booster pumps, motors, valves, and an inventory of much more. Stop by one of their locations in Hondo and Pearsall, or give them a call at 210-434-7867. Peerless Equipment, bringing water to you. Double T Outfitters offers deer, dove, turkey, quail, and exotic hunts in Southwest Texas on over 20,000 low-fenced acres. They facilitate professional guide services, lodging, and fantastic meals while providing the best in Southwest hunting. Contact Double T Outfitters to find out details about their current package hunts. Contact owner Brett Ferguson at 210-413-1597 or online at doubleThunting.com.
Headed out to the game? Then make a stop at your local Valley Mart convenience store. With 12 area locations, Valley Mart is always right around the corner. Fuel yourself and your vehicle with quality branded gas and diesel, snacks, and fountain drinks. Always convenient, well lit with clean restrooms. Valley Mart, family owned and operated since 1984, and a proud supporter of Medina Valley athletics and area youth sports for over 30 years.
Sammy's Restaurant and Havy's Alsatian Bakery, two legendary landmarks in Castroville. From breakfast to delicious hometown lunch specials and more, Sammy's satisfies your taste buds with the unique flavor of Castroville. And from fresh baked breads to pies and pastries, South Texans have made Havy's Alsatian Bakery a must-to-visit since 1940. Sammy's Restaurant, online at sammysrestaurant.com. Havy's Alsatian Bakery, online at havysbakery.com.
Welcome back to Sports for Supper, as we had the tennis program on here. They were going to be playing on Friday against Bernie Champion, and that is the area round of the playoffs. It's the second round of their fall season, and they're going to be playing in San Antonio at over off Ingram and 410. There's a complex over there that they'll be playing at. They start at 10 in the morning.
That's the Northside Tennis Complex.
Yeah, Northside Tennis Complex. You can go over there and support the tennis team because they've 6-0 in district this year. They beat Edison. I think they just about swept them out of that game. So
tough matchup coming up.
Tough matchup coming up with Bernie Champion. And that's one of the things, they're talking about. We're hoping to get a middle school program coming up soon to start these kids off playing sooner. When you look at like Alamo Heights and Champion and Dripping Springs and some of those schools, they've got kids who are starting to play tennis when they're 6 years old.
Well, and you go up that way towards Bernie, you have the Fair Oaks complex that most of those, they start when they're 5, 6 years old.
Yeah,
I mean,
tennis ranch.
That's, the thing about Alamo Heights and Bernie Champion and them is they're one sport athletes.
Oh, yeah.
They're tennis and they're only tennis.
Yep.
They're golf, they're only golf.
And for most of their life,
Exactly.
Not even from the freshman. You're like these young man and young woman we had here this evening. They started as freshmen in high school, and here they are as seniors, 6-0 in district, and they fell in love with the game and looking to play on some of the rec teams and stuff in college. So it was really interesting talking to them and getting to hear kind of how they started in tennis as freshmen, and now. I remember when I was in high school, I graduated in 2004, and, I mean, there were kids that played tennis, but you didn't hear about it ever, at school. You didn't talk about it. And the coach that was here, he played in 2008, and now you look at it, and they went 70 kids out for tennis.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, and going back to when I was in high school, we had a tennis team, but it was just a handful of kids.
Yeah.
Not many of them played. You really didn't talk about it. Matter of fact, end of my senior year, I'd go out after school and play tennis with some of those kids, as they were practicing and stuff. So, tennis is a lifetime sport, and it's a sport that has grown with popularity as social media has grown. Yep. It's out there more. You've got certain people out there that are influencers, and you look at a Venus Williams and people like that people are looking up to now, and they get out and want to be like them. So,
yeah. Well, it's just like anything else because tennis gets the exposure that it gets now. When we were kids, it was baseball, football, and basketball.
Yeah, and there was only 3 channels, and your cable channel was usually on TBS, and it was the Braves.
The Braves, yeah, or WGN with the Cubs.
Yeah, or the Cubs, yeah.
And at one time, WOR, they had the Mets on for just a little bit. But still, you got to look back. I can still remember growing up and waking up and watching that tennis, and it was Jimmy Connors, and it was Yvonne Lendl, McEnroe, and it was Chrissy Everett, the Ice Princess, versus
Andre Agassi. Images, everything,
and Steffi Graf and Martina Navratilova.
Yep.
I mean, those. I mean, and took it serious back then when Jimmy Connors was playing Yvonne Lendl or McEnroe were playing one of the foreign players.
Yep.
It was
even at that time, there was not the exposure that there is now.
No,
and that's why I'm saying I think that's why, as a lifetime sport, it has grown.
Yep.
And Medina, now let's be honest, Medina Valley's 1,900 students at the high school. That's also a reason that the program has grown. You've got different people, and the more and more people you get, the more and more things that you got to have for these extracurricular activities for these kids to do.
Well, and they're moving in. They're not people like when we were growing up. It was all local people. You knew everybody and their parents. Now they're all move-ins, and they've been exposed to this stuff outside of Medina Valley, where we didn't get exposed to tennis and stuff so much here.
Well,
and so they come in and, hey, we need a tennis program because this is what we do.
You kind of got to like what you saw sitting across the table from us. The young man played here in 2008.
Yep.
He wanted to come back and
give back to the program
where he played. Give back to the program.
And,
that's
for example,
awesome.
tennis has been here for a long time.
Yeah.
Team tennis has not.
Yeah.
Okay, which is what they're playing right now is team tennis. But you look at what has Medina Valley added here recently?
Oh, yeah.
Swimming.
Yeah, a lot.
Swimming has been added. You've got all these other there are more kids, so there needs to be more activities for them to participate in. Not everybody's a football player.
No.
Not everybody's a volleyball player. Not everybody is a basketball player. And
we used to think everybody was a baseball player or a football
player.
It's
and
not like that
you know
anymore.
what I saw the other day is there's a youth football league starting now, youth tackle football league, but guess when they start? March. It's a spring football league. So that's going to take away from the baseball program and the stuff like that. So But at the same time, nobody's really hurting for numbers. I mean, there's plenty of kids to go around, so it's good for the community. Everything they start.
And we had the tennis was on here, and remember you can support them Friday. They're taking on Bernie Champion area playoff second round, and then you've got the football team on Friday night taking on Alamo Heights here at Panther Stadium. This is going to be the last of a string of 5 straight home games for the Panthers. Next week they will travel to Lockhart. Be the first road game since the John Jay game, the second week of the season. But the Panthers are looking to get back to 1-1 on the season. They had a tough 17-0 loss against Bernie Champion, a game that was 0-0 going in at halftime. But Alamo Heights, to me, they're the best team in the district right now, and it's going to be a very tough game for Medina Valley.
Yeah. Yep, and there's not a whole lot to say about this game coming up except you hope to keep the kids that are still in the program healthy and build on any positives you can. Maybe you play well and you build on that, and if you could sneak out with a W, that'd be superb. But if you can't, you've got to look forward to the next. You never look ahead, obviously, but you got to look forward to the next 3 games that you should be able to compete in and win.
Yep.
So we hope and we pray that MV gets back on a winning streak sooner rather than later. And Coach Crisp and his staff are going to do everything they can to try to make that happen.
And it might take turnover here, pick 6 here, something like that. But if Medina Valley can create some turnovers, maybe hit a big play here or there, surprise them with something.
Hey,
this game,
I tell you what, we beat Bernie Champion.
A&M beat Alabama.
And we beat Bernie Champion a couple of years ago because of a fumble return for a touchdown.
Yep.
From Garrett Snyder or Grant Snyder, sorry.
Yep.
And stuff like that will happen. Flukes happen, and if you can keep the game close, if you can find a way to keep the game close, you never know how the buck falls.
Well, in Alamo Heights is coming off of a win against Floresville in a game that ended up pretty close. I think that it was 21 points at one point, but I think Floresville made that a game. They only lost by about 7 or 8 points in that game.
Yep.
But
one possession.
Yeah. And Heights comes in ranked, I think, in the top 10 in the state. So it's going to be a tough game, but they're coming to Panther Stadium. The crowd can come out and make a difference in that game, so I encourage everyone to come out to Panther Stadium and make some noise and get behind Medina Valley. Also, the volleyball this week, Friday night, Jeff, are they going to be on?
No.
I do not believe so. I think they got some things going on. I'm going out of town. I can't take it either. So I don't believe.
Said he was going to be out of town.
Friday also. So I don't believe there is going to be a broadcast this Friday. But the girls are taking on Southside at home. It'd be a great opportunity, for fans to come out and catch their, 6 o'clock game and then walk on over and watch the Panther football team. So we encourage everybody to get out there and watch them.
So we will be on Friday from Panther Stadium. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff. We'll be on around 6:45 to set that ball game up for you. And we're looking forward to another week of Panther football. And then looking forward to volleyball next week. They'll play on Tuesday night also, and then we'll have Sports for Supper before the Lockhart game. So for the Medina Valley Broadcast Network, I'd like to thank all of the sponsors for making it possible to bring you all these broadcasts here. I'd like to thank Sammy's for letting us host these shows here for every week, because without them, these broadcasts wouldn't be possible.
They're very generous to the athletes that come and the coaches, and they take care of them with nachos and free drinks. So
thank you,
much.
Ann Duran and the entire Sherhart family, and everything for allowing us for the last 3 years to come in here and host from this central location. I think everybody enjoys it.
It is appreciated, as well as all of our other sponsors. Thank you.
Absolutely. And so for Maury Stein and Jeff Stivers, I'm Jared Lucky saying good night, God bless, and we'll see you Friday.